Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunaalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। One of the students, in terms of Yoga Shastra, how have you benefited from these changes? First and the foremost, I have seen the changes within myself. After looking back to my earlier life, I have discovered my attention to things and situations have changed for better. I have a lot more understanding, lot more patience, and being more open. I also often ask myself question and go back to notes all the time. There are many situations where I have seen myself handling it with little or no anger, which was not the case in the past. Which other changes I would like to bring to myself? Not blaming myself for things that happened and being hard on myself, especially when things are being said and done unknowingly. With reference to your vision of the truth, what are your doubts and queries? I have no doubts. Thank you, Nipa and Deepak, all for all your contributions and help. Good. I'm happy that you have changed for good. That's the word you used. So, and it is for better. See, human being and all other animals, there is one more source of unhappiness. All other creatures become unhappy to survive in case of some problems in the survivals. Maybe hunger or maybe cold or heat or whatever. Whereas we become unhappy for what, for way of looking at the things, how you evaluate the situation. They just see it black and white. Good, bad, eatable, non-eatable, to be here, not to be here, run away, etc. Clean. In our case, we look at various situations subjectively. That subjective perception is based on our upbringing, our values, our likes and dislikes, our ideals, our evaluation of oneself, our judgment about the people, what kind of self-estimation I have, what kind of estimation do I have for other people, etc., all has a bearing on it. So it becomes quite often subjective. And there is a tendency to insist that things should be in my way. If not, I become unhappy. The Yoga Shastra and teachings of the Shastra, Vedanta itself, helps you to be more objective. Objective means to accept the things as it is and then still work for your goal. You can continue to work for your ideal or whatever it is, or you can continue to work for change that you want to have in the situation. But then, first is acceptance. Objectivity means acceptance. This is how it is. I have to work upon it. So, it's good. It is that your attention has changed. Lot of patience and open person. Open person means you give some space to other people. Accept them as they are. This is how the things are. Generally, anger comes when we have insistences, strong likes and dislikes. That brings about our anger. So, when you have no insistences, this is how it should be, and this is how it cannot be, then you are a free person. So, when there is less anger, that means you are free. And there is too much of anger, that means you are bound. That's a bondage one has. Uh, Not blaming myself for the things that happened on being hard on myself. That's true. Sometimes, the prarabdha is very harsh in our life. In a sense, you meet with certain situations where you feel you are cheated, you are betrayed, and you are pushed to the situation or dukkham deliberately by someone else for no fault of yours, etc. And that we keep brooding. Why? I don't deserve this. True, you may not be. There are, in a way, two possibilities. See, any situation that comes to life, it's like an accident. Accident has two possibilities. One, it was your destiny that you met with an accident. Your karmas were there. And another is human being has a free will. Car has a free will to drive, to speed up, to brake, or whatever. It can be misuse or abuse of free will by another person, and you get victimized, whether you deserve or not. Somebody is misusing the freedom, and that nobody does that way. Therefore, there are police laws, one way, and the speed breakers and the speed limits and all that. In either case, don't blame yourself. Why should I be blaming myself? What happened? Maybe I deserved it. My past karmas may be there. And the other person is just an instrumental nimittam to bring me that dukkham which I need, which was destined for me. Or it may be his or her misuse of freedom, misuse of free will, abuse of free will. So, whatever it is, that is all Ishvara, order of Ishvara. Just bring in the Ishvara in your life and learn to accept the past. We don't accept the past. And sometimes when we don't accept, we don't learn from the past also. Somebody misuses your trust, still you remain the same. Puja Swami used to say this. There is a saying, very popular saying in English. Experience makes the person wiser, which is not true. Experience can make you wiser provided you learn from experience. If you don't learn from experience, you don't become wise, you become more foolish because you draw a judgment. That this is what happened and this is how the person is and that blah blah blah. So, with that kind of thinking, you become more unhappy. So, you have to just resolve the past, accept it. This is what happened to my life, and this is I take it. And that is where we have to bring in Ishvara as a karma phaladata, as a karma taksha, or an order. This was an order for which I was destined to, and then I accept it. So don't be hard to yourself. Sometimes we are hard on other count also. Like this go-getters, those who decide and then they decide I want it and they work for it. And for that goal, sometimes they are very hard on themselves. You accept the best thing is fall in love with yourself in spite of limitations. You may have a picture of yourself, ideal I, that you want to be. And if you can't achieve, fine. Give that space. Give that freedom to yourself to make mistake. Give that space to yourself to fail. It's human to err and accept that. Even if you may be sincerely wanting to achieve the goal, your ideal subjective goal, you may not be able to do that. It's fine. Nowadays, I hear these management workshops, motivational speakers, all the time telling that I get in those days. In India, we had one commercial about one cigarette, Wills, that was a brand, WILLS, Wills cigarette. And there was a macho man smoking in a commercial. And there was a caption written, I get what I want. Nowadays, these guys, these motivational speakers tell, you must try harder and harder and harder and harder and harder to achieve the goal. And if you work, you will certainly achieve the goal. And they give those examples. This fellow failed so many times. This person lost this many times. All kinds of stories are floating around about. I had 2 days ago, somebody sent me a video that this richest person of China, Jack Ma, this Alibaba, hello, like there is one portal like Flipkart and this online purchase portal, Alibaba, that the richest person, that Jack Ma had failed in fifth standard twice, failed in his whole career some 10 or 12 times. And having gotten a graduation, he didn't get 3 or 4 jobs, but he continued and wanted to become a rich man. And he became a rich man to that extent that recently he bought a house in Hong Kong costing just $200 million. Rich man. Like that, they float a lot of stories. This fellow got it, that fellow got it. But they don't tell that. How many did not get it? See, those who could make it, they are exceptions. Okay? There are 2, 3 reasons. I'm not saying that you don't work for success. I'm not saying that you don't try to achieve that ideal position or the place that you want to achieve. Work it out, that's fine. But not necessarily that you will get it. There are 2, 3 reasons Maybe your own goal may not be objective. You might not have enough self analysis, SWOT analysis in terms of a strength and the weaknesses and things like that. And you may be trying for that, which may not be possible at all, objectively speaking. And even if possible, there is always a daivam, third factor. Okay, some grace is necessary to succeed, some punyam is necessary. And so something may be missing, so we may not get it. Not that everyone who strives would get it. If that is true, what these motivational guys are talking, you decide and you get it, then at least 10 persons in the class should be the first number. At least there should be 10 persons qualifying for the gold medal in Olympic because everybody is decided. The one who comes second also worked for gold medal. One who came third also worked for gold medal. Even the 10th guy also wanted to be the winner of the race. So everybody tries. Maybe his or her own limitations in terms of capacities and a self-estimation may be improper, or some daivam is missing, whatever it is. That's not true. There are so many guys who have faked. So these people nowadays are so harsh or hard on themselves. Why can't I make it? I will make it. Sometimes I see them. It's a good thing, good resolve. But the price that you pay for that goal, I would say it is maturity to give up also. You have to learn to give up certain things. And that's what I learned from Krishna. See this Bhagavan Krishna. He was Lord. He had proved all his prowess, omnipotency, omnisciency in his childhood itself. All those incidents of killing demon and then lifting the Govardhan and then removing the delusion of Brahmaji and all kinds of things. He had done it. So he was all powerful. But then the Kamsa's, his uncle's father-in-law, Kamsa was a son-in-law of Jarasandha. His daughter became a widow. And she went to her father and said this and kept on wailing and crying and all the time. Father could not see that. Was so badly hurt that Jarasandha attacked Mathura 17 times. 17. And every time he had to run away for the life. Neither he could win, could kill Krishna or somebody, he had to run away. Finally, Krishna decided to move away. This fellow will not give in, let me go. That's it. So you have to change your own goals sometimes. Don't be stubborn that I have decided I'll make it come what may, whatever price I have to pay. That's not worth it. Don't push it beyond a limit wherein you end up much more price than what that particular goal deserves. It's not worth it. So, when we are too harsh, one of the reason is that I don't want to give in. I have decided and I will make it come what may. Sometimes learn to give in and learn to accept yourself with mistakes and limitations. You know, I don't know whether I've shared this or not. I tell these youngsters, before telling anyone, I love you, you know, the Valentine business, now it will come next month. The January, I think February, correct? February 13th or something. Before proposing and saying I love you, tell this to the person, I tell I love you daily to the person whom you see first in the day. And first you see yourself only in the mirror when you wake up. Tell that person I love you. So it's better to love yourself first in spite of limitations. In the morning, you will see all limitation, hair limitation, face limitation, eyebrow limitation, all kinds of problems because you have not done the makeup. So you will feel the bad, but still tell I love you in spite of limitations. It's Bhagavan says, when you curse yourself, you are cursing Bhagavan because he is the Antaratma, he is the self. You know? When there is a self-loath, when the self complain, it is to Bhagavan. Remember that. And sometimes people say something, even if knowingly. It's a good statement when things are being said and done unknowingly. In either case, you should not be hurt and you should not be hard on yourself. Because if they say unknowingly, then there is no question. And even if they say knowingly, okay, own up. This is how that person is and this is how I am. Why do I seek approval from all the people? Why do I seek acceptance as a good person from all other people? There should be hardly one or two person whom you respect, whom you trust that they will be objective in looking at me, and if they say something, then look at yourself. And then change if need be. Or it may be that other person also may not have full information about you. Or maybe his or her subjectivity also. There is no point in being hard on yourself in either case. Even if is something said about you, it may be subjective judgment of another person. So just analyze this, look at yourself, and own up. It's okay. You know, I like this American teenage word. Just be cool. Just be cool. Just be cool. Indians, we say cool, but they don't say L. Let's be cool. So you be cool to yourself. That's fine. With reference to vision of the truth, what are your doubts and queries? I have no doubts. Thank you, Nipa and Deepak, for all your contributions. Another person writes, my attitude towards life has become more practical. I have been learning to incorporate what you teach during the class. I apply it to my day-to-day events, especially during the pandemic. Things got really harder. Long working hours. It has helped me to cope to bring in work-life balance. Thank you. The regular classes will help me to be more focused, slow, and steady. Changes bring subtleness or calm and a lot more trust to be able to achieve what I wish to. To presently I feel at times down. Maybe this is not going to work out because there is no support. Probably it's just a situation, but I would like to do better. Trust myself and be confident. And trust God that things will work out for better. Don't feel that low confidence. Brahma Vidya. So much of vast knowledge. How can I put this knowledge into practice in our day to day life? Sometimes I wonder. At times, I have my own beliefs and perspective, and the people around me may have their own beliefs, and then I question my own beliefs. In that case, in that case, how do I handle those situations? Hmm, Good one. Yes, pandemic has impacted the world less physically, more psychologically. That is true. And both ways, you have to work hard. And it's good that you are able to bring in, to cope up with the balance, work and life balance. But if not, it's okay. Take it easy. This is the period where this change is there and where there's a temporary called naimittikam, where one has to attend to this situation and work and life balancing may be tilted towards more towards work. So you have to address this and attend that. It's okay. I would like to bring subtleness or calm and a lot more trust to be able to achieve what I wish to. Hmm. You see, human beings, we are self conscious. There is a self awareness as to who am I? How am I? Along with that, that's fine to have self awareness. That kind of self awareness is not seen in any other species. They have, but their self awareness is limited to survival. What to eat, what not to eat, whom to be afraid of, whom not to be afraid of, etc. That much only they know. Whereas in our case, we know how I look and etc. On there onwards, relationship and everything. Along with that, we have picked up certain values. As you grow, it's unfortunate, inevitable fact that you pick up certain values. You pick up certain likes and dislikes. And you draw some self estimation. There is a self judgment. And in that self judgment, there are two things. One, I am not what I should be based on those values, based on those ideals. So there is an ideal I. And being self conscious, there is an actual I. And there is a gap, distance between the two. In a way, life is nothing but to efforts to bridge this gap, bridge this space. I should have this much money. I should have this house. I should have this car. I should have this position, ideal, etc., etc. Or out of self-estimation, self-value. I deserve that. There are two things. I want it is one thing, and second is I deserve that. And you work to achieve that. So far, so good. But then there is Buddhi is a judgmental. It judges The other person who has, he or she doesn't deserve. The person who doesn't deserve has it, and I, the one who deserve, doesn't get it. Okay? All this causes pain within you. All this, then when you put in some efforts to achieve the ideal I, or what you think you deserve to have it, or what you want to achieve it, and few repeated failures creates a sense of low, or sense of, you feel you don't trust yourself. Okay. One of the aspect of Shraddha is I, Ishwar Shraddha, Guru Shraddha, Shastra Shraddha, and Atma Shraddha. I always trust. I'll work again. If I deserve this, and if I want it, I'll work for it. I'll get it. If not, I will try again. If you can't change that goal, better sometimes bring a change. That's okay. I can't. And that's not in my destiny. That Ishvara's will. Or work for it. It's, don't failure or success are not there to draw a self-judgment. A failure, when you draw a judgment, then you say, I am low and I can't do that, etc. And if there is a success, the ego will take over. I did it and etc. That's okay. You have it, then have it. But don't create a self-judgment out of failures. Na atmanam avasadayet. There is a mention in Gita Ji to say that I am useless, think that I am incapable, think that I just cannot and will not, or to look down upon oneself is a sin, one of the greatest sin. So don't let that judgment come to you. If you can't trust yourself, trust Bhagavan. That he has brought me in this life, there is some purpose I have to fulfill. That's all. And from where to where I have been taken so far. There are always those unseen hands helping me throughout, guiding me throughout. The grace has been flowing in my life. Maybe not as much as I want it to be. Quantity may be less. Last time we did some meditation. When you visualize yourself, think of the self of 5 years old, 10 years old. You never dreamt that you would be one day what you are today. You are led to that position, led to that point. That means there is a grace flowing. And that being a case, trust Ishvara. When you can't make it, trust Ishvara that there is an order in it. His laws are infallible and they are impartial also. So I accept his laws, and that's what has come to me. Okay? There is so much of knowledge. How can I put that knowledge into practice in our day-to-day life? Answer is only one. Keep studying day to day. The more you study, more you can own up the knowledge. The classes should not be confined to twice a week only, and that too sometimes irregular. First of all, we have to be regular at least for 2 classes, whatever it is. And secondly, do some reading, do some mananam, you know. Find a time for yourself. See, there is a paradox here, or I would say dichotomy. On one hand, we say, I want this knowledge to become reality in my day to day life. I want to put them into practice and own this. But at the same time, we are not giving time for that. It's not a priority for us. When it comes to study or when it comes to do mananam, nididhyasanam, we quietly say, I don't have time. Though you don't say this, but this is a proof for me. I had requested all of you, after we have been teaching you for almost 3 years, and this text I have been teaching almost for more than a year. First time I asked something as a teacher. I said, all of you look into yourself and answer me these 4 questions. Hardly 8 or 10% have replied. And then you say, I want this knowledge in my life. Everybody wants it. Therefore, you are continuing. I appreciate that. I'm not questioning your sincerity. But that our commitment is not enough to own this. That's all. Because you don't find a quality time for yourself. Okay? So, we have to sit down, look at ourselves. That's why I framed these particular 4 questions. It was to help you to put the knowledge into your day-to-day practice only. But we don't want to do that until we want it. That's a dichotomy. So, still I request those of you who have not replied, sit down and write and say. And if you are feeling shy to reveal your name, don't worry. We are not revealing the name, and Nipa would keep it confidential. And if you feel distrust on Nipa, send me directly on my email, okay? I will share the mail ID on the group today. But find some time, quality time to do mananam and nididhyasanam. If not, listen to talks. At least more, not twice, but more than few days. Gujarati lectures are there 4 days. If you happen to know, attend that. So, this is the only way. There is no other way to put the knowledge into practice, day-to-day life. It's the only way. More you study, more it will percolate into your life. You have not to put into practice, it has to percolate. And it will. People around have their own beliefs, and then I question my own belief. Okay, good. But don't give up your belief that you believed at least this part, that I need to study and do this. Don't give that up. People may talk all kinds of things about moksha and your life association with Shastra or Swamiji. At least that you don't give up. Namaste, Swamiji. Another person. Yoga Shastra study has impacted my life as my perspective has changed. I am convinced about my true self and want to own this teaching, own up this teaching. Hence, value Swamiji and Mataji's teaching. Moksha is my goal. That's I am. The big change I see in myself is that I am allowing myself to be free from my likes and dislikes and keeping my mind non-judgmental, surrendering completely to Ishvara and learning from you that being humble. The question is, will this knowledge stay in my mind when I grow old? It looks you are too young. Person who has asked the question. How can I own up this knowledge completely? I'm really happy that you are working on yourself and you have a value for learning. Therefore, you are attending the classes very regularly and trying to internalize this teaching. That's that's good. I'm happy. Please continue that. It will help you in your life. The change that you see, that you allow yourself to be free from likes and dislikes, trying yourself the self to be non-judgmental in surrendering to Ishvara and trying to be humble. These are all good qualities to imbibe. And more you surrender, more you become free. More you surrender, more relaxed you are. The so-called tension is of likes and dislikes only. The so-called anxiety, worry is all because of that. When you surrender, you become more relaxed. As Swami used to say, relax in the lap of Ishvara. Okay? What is Ishvara's lap? The order. The order of the situation, order of karma phala. Is Ishvara. The creator, the Ishvara, created this world out of himself through Maya Shakti. So the world is non-separate from him. So he comes to you in the form of every situation that you face with. That is his order. So more you remember that order, more you fall back in his lap. More you see the order, more you fall back in his lap, and more you fall back in his lap, you relaxed. Like in the lap of mother, you are relaxed. Ishvara is Jagatah Pitaro, mother and father both. So you can relax. I am happy. You would be more relaxed. And more you relax, more you see the order, more you will be accepting the situation as it is, accepting the people as it is. More you trust him, more you will trust your life situation. It's okay, he has done it, it's fine. And more relaxed you will be with yourself. So that's good. Will this knowledge stay in my mind when I grow old? How can I own up this knowledge completely? Same answer. Keep studying regularly. Not only the class, if you happen to be a retired person or you don't have much work, then write notes, write complete essay type of thing, what you learn from the class. That will become mananam and nididhyasanam for you. Writing the notes. Not notes mean just bullet points. Complete essay, 2 pages, 3 pages, as though you are gonna to take a lecture tomorrow. That kind of preparation. So covering up all the points that have been discussed in the class. So that kind of work, if you do, that would be reveling in the knowledge. Tad buddhes tadatmanaha tannishta tat parayana. For those times, your mind will be soaked in the teaching. Mind will be soaked in the knowledge. And more it is soaked, more you will be able to own it up. That's one thing. Yes, it will stay in your mind when you grow old. And if at all, just hypothetically, There is Alzheimer. And you forget. But in that case, there is a promise. Remember, Bhagavan has promised. When in the sixth chapter, Arjuna asked, Ayati Shraddhayo Peto Yogat Chalita Manasa. Kam Gatim Krishna Gachati. What will happen to a seeker who couldn't put in complete efforts to own up this knowledge? Either for want of time, want of prarabdha, want of resources, or want of that mindset. Psychological infrastructure was not conducive to put in all the efforts. There is a promise by Bhagavan that person will be reborn as a human being, and that person will restart the pursuit from where he or she had left. Okay? So, Tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam vyatate cha tato bhuyaha samsiddhau kurunandana. Hey Kurunandana, he or she will pursue for moksha tata yatate cha tatah. Then from that point onwards, he or she will continue. The pursuit of moksha will never ever be lost. So there can be commas and semicolons, but not full stop, till you gain knowledge. It's a promise. And I'm sure you must have had done it. Because at a certain age you got this. And you wonder, why did I get this at this age? I should have gotten it earlier. Another way also is true, you could have missed it earlier also, later. People around you, they still keep missing for one or other reason. They all have all kinds of excuses, or I would say justification regarding this. This is the reason why I couldn't do that or why I cannot do that. So, but you got it and you held on to it. People who started with you might have dropped out. That is a grace. Wherever you left, you are back to it. That's a promise by Bhagavan. So don't worry. Okay? Even if something happens to mind, let it happen. You are not the mind. This is not something to be remembered. This is something to know. And once you know that avidya is destroyed, it never comes back. So, hypothetically, a wise man having Alzheimer will be mukta. He may not remember that I am this. But moment the knowledge took place, since then avidya is removed and ignorance knows only to go, never to come back. So, it's like our English of this Hindi vakya. Somebody asked these children who had just learned new English and he says, translate this, वो गया सो गया कि वापस ही नहीं आया. गया सो गया कि वापस ही नहीं आया. This fellow was a Hindi English. So we call it Hinglish, not English, but English. Translation was, class. He ventai and ventai and ventai, so ventai can never came back. ventai, ventai, so ventai, never came back. गया सो गया, वापस नहीं आया. So that will never happen. I mean, that will happen for ignorance. Once ignorance is destroyed, so ignorance ventai, so ventai that ignorance will never come back. Okay? Trust the Ishvara. That's how it is. Okay. Change in another person. Namaste. Change in the attitude, values, goals. For the starter, I think I get it now. It's not about what's happening externally, what anybody is doing or saying, etc. It's about the internal experience, how my mind processes and approaches life via my values. Via my values. Good. I see it now. How I am constantly doing, going, moving, and how that's never ever enough. Nothing ever gets done. This makes me think I can slow down a bit, be a bit more patient, be a bit more kind, and stop being so achievement oriented person. This is my huge moment this week. Knowledge is immediate through proper pramana, and if I don't learn it this moment, then there is another obstacle that needs to be addressed. Though right thinking or right lifestyle. I have always acquired information, taking notes, not paying full attention now, etc. Because I can sit down and learn it later, but later never comes. And therefore, I don't actually gain knowledge. I think this has something to do with America's approach of learning. We hoard things out of insecurity so that we will have them later. American thinking. I am more willing to surrender to allow for more objectivity and to admit my failings. I see how the golden rule can work here. If this whole thing is truly non dual, then hurting another only hurts myself. So I don't do unto another what I wouldn't want done to me. I am conscious of this thought most of the days. I am less lazy or less grumpy. When it comes to doing work and or daily chores, because I approach my day and work as my dharma and do what is to be done with more joyful attitude. This is a note from you can say, a very introspective person, a person who has been always looking himself or herself and to trying to improve or imbibe or own up this knowledge all the time. I'm very happy that you are quite introspective about this. Well, that is also true. It's not about what's happening externally, what anybody doing or saying, how my mind processes and approaches life via values. That's all makes you happy and unhappy. But equally, there is a limitations that you can take certain external situation. Like body has a limitation. It can take only to this much cold. It can take only this much heat. Only mind also has limitations. So uh, try to have the situation externally where only that much which your mind can take on. Otherwise, a lot of energy and life would be wasted in enhancing the capacities of the mind. Mhm. This is true. I have to stop being so achievement oriented, constantly doing, going, moving, and that's never enough. Nothing ever gets done. That's again American, not American, modern culture. There is a, you see, we have a doing culture, not doing. I would correct it. We have a becoming culture. How you do? Because I want to become this. I want the self to be there in terms of money, in terms of power, in terms of position, in terms of recognition, in terms of pleasure. The becoming culture means what? It is just the opposite to. In India, we had, now no more. Slowly, we are also losing our culture because of globalization. You know? This globalization is sometimes I feel like communist, government. Everybody wearing the same dress. Everybody has to move on a cycle and all kind regimentation thing. Look at this. In India, we had so many varieties of food, and people used to have different types of food. Even in Gujarat, I can say, 7, 8 regions take their food differently. Saurashtra people will have different kind of supper and lunch and things like that. Kutch people will have different, Surat guys will have different, Ahmedabad fellows will have different, Baroda will have different, North Gujarat, there's Mehsana and all will have different things. The dresses also were different. Even the pagadi we call it special. There were so many types in it. Now a standardization is coming. In clothing, we had differences. Everybody is in pant, shirt, and all. Standardization. Our modern children don't want our traditional food. Everybody is in for pizza and spaghettis and things like that. So, anyway, coming back to this culture, Indian culture was abiding culture, not becoming. When there is a becoming culture, that means you have to do something. Why becoming culture means what? Non-acceptance of the being available as of now. Dissatisfaction with the self now, obtaining self. Self wants to become this. I want to become that. I want to have this. I want to have that, etc. That means dissatisfied I, discontent I, non-acceptance I. That is becoming culture. And that is doing. Swamiji he had made a beautiful observation, Puja Swamiji. Look at this doing culture. We have ears. Ears is to hear the music. Shruyate anena. So all Indian traditional music is listening. You just sit and listen. And they relax you. You become calmer and calmer. But the Western music, Swamiji would say, is a doing music. You have to do something. Even while singing, you have to do this. When the singer sings, you wonder whether he is singing or doing acrobats on the dais with a mic holding like this and making all kinds of faces and walking hither and thither. And people also don't listen sitting quiet. They are standing and listening and doing all kinds of gestures and body movements. That is becoming culture. So Nothing wrong in having goals, okay? And don't, I mean, if you feel like it, fine, but don't resolve to stop being so achievement oriented. It's not something to be resolved, something to own up. You have to grow and discover. You have, one has to accept the dissatisfied self, has to accept the self, and then it will become less becoming. Secondly, as I said last time, please own up your achievements also. We are so driven by what is to be achieved, we hardly own up or look back and have relaxation about what I already have achieved with myself. What I have is taken for granted, and what I don't have, the goal looms so large that I miss this obvious. You have to sit quiet and enjoy what you have, not simply projecting the happiness and joy in future. What will I achieve? Then I will become happy. That's fine. You achieve and then become happy. At least pause there or stay there for some time to be happy. But that moments are very short lived. Moment that is have, you have it, happy, happy, and then suddenly new goal. Something new comes up. So own up your successes, own up your achievements, and pause at that achievement. You know, it's like I when I came earlier somewhere 20 years ago, 25 years in US, one of the students from Rajkot happened to be town planner in one town, city town planner of California, somewhere near California. I think San Jose or something, some place. He said he thought, when you come first time, and he thought I have come moved abroad first time. So he never knew that I had been to Europe and certain countries. He asked me, how do you like it? I said, it's good. He wanted little approval from me. You see, what a beautiful town planning they have. Every house is a front courtyard and back courtyard and the space and the lawn and the garden. So clean and there is a road has some cycles for the passage for the cycles and the pedestrian and so nice, etc., etc. And then after some time, he said, "What is your opinion about this town?" I said, "Very good. I'm very happy. I didn't want to hurt you." I mean, he might get, so I just kept my opinion with myself. I said, "That's really good. Appreciate that part." Then he says, now I said, I asked him, where are you living? He said, I have here 2-bedroom house and now I'm planning, me and my wife, 4-bedroom house. Children are growing up and they have already grown up. We are planning 4-bedroom house. Oh, very good. And will have a lot of space in the front and the back and all that. And in that conversation, he told me that he works from morning 6 to evening 5:36 and hardly gets any time during the working days. On the weekends, he has to move the laundry, do the laundry and move lawns and etc. And he said, when I will have a bigger house, I will have to do more with courtyards. And we are planning to have a dog also, and then on Sunday I can play with etc. etc. Then he again asked me, how do you find this country? I said, it is very good. Your town planning is very good. I really appreciate. But the point is, the lawn that is maintained in the front courtyard, the flowers that have been grown in the front courtyard, they are grown for whom? owner doesn't have time to sit there and see the flowers. The one who owns the house, he doesn't have time. I said, this is all meant for me because I have classes in morning, evening, and daytime I'm free. And I go for a walk and enjoy everybody's garden. But the fellow who maintains it doesn't have time to enjoy that. Never have time to sit there and enjoy the garden. Similarly, in life, you have a beautiful house, beautiful lawn, beautiful garden. Just sit sometimes there and enjoy it. And then go to office. I says in India we are better off. However small garden, every day in the morning we have the luxury of taking morning tea and breakfast in the garden itself. You sit in the veranda or balcony and have tea, coffee comfortably, and then start work at 9:30, 10. And that's better than this. So, coming back to the point, achievement oriented, just look at yourself. But am I trying to achieve out of dissatisfaction? One. And do I own up my own success? Do I enjoy my own achievements? Do I have that leisure to enjoy that, to own that up? With this, we think we need to close today. Tomorrow we'll continue with some more questions, some more notes, and hopefully to get some more, because you'll find some time to sit with yourself and answer these 4 questions. I look forward to have your feedback. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om.